Let's talk Tennessee recruiting. There's going to be so much talent in Neyland Stadium on Saturday. A win over Bama could go a long way. I mean, just look back 2 years ago, that 49-point win in Neyland provided a huge boost to recruiting. So can Tennessee do it again? In this video from VolQuest, I got Austin Price. We're going to go behind the scenes of this weekend's big visit weekend. But before we get going, Tennessee fans, do me a favor right now. Hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. This is the best recruiting channel on all of YouTube, and we love talking Tennessee recruiting, so jump on board and hit subscribe. All right, let's bring in my man, Austin Price. Austin, we've been talking about this visit weekend for quite some time. I remember back in the summer. When will it be? Well, the time is now. So from a recruit's perspective, what makes these big game visits to Neyland so special?
Well, it's the atmosphere. Last weekend, it was obviously you added a little bit of extra flavor with them checkering Neyland. This weekend you've got an orange out. It's just a big game. You got Tennessee, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama this week. And it's big for Tennessee just based off the fact that they had no recruiting momentum at all the first 6 weeks of the season, just based off the fact that they didn't really have any good home games. And, they had to self-impose one of the weekends dating back to the previous coaching staff. And so, they had a neutral site game, 2 road games. This is kind of like this nice 2-week stretch here in the month of October where they can actually build a little momentum and thwart some of the momentum from other programs who were able to get Shady Hayward to campus like Georgia or Jaden Harmon to campus like Alabama.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's turn our attention to some of the big names that will be on campus. Now we're going to focus on some of the official visits. VolQuest has a full visit list up on their site. Tons of intel coming out of the site. You guys should go check that out. Let's talk first about defensive lineman Isaiah Campbell. He's fresh off that decommitment from Clemson, and he is now trending heavily to Tennessee. The great Steve Wiltfong, he dropped a Fong bomb, a recruiting prediction machine pick in for Isaiah Campbell to Tennessee in the days leading up to this official visit. So, Isaiah Campbell, is there a chance that he could come out of this weekend committed to Tennessee?
You never say never, but I would honestly be surprised. I think that this visit goes a long way to helping him determine, that Tennessee's, team to beat for him or a major player, however you want to say it. Mm-hmm. Tennessee's been working, behind the scenes on Isaiah Campbell for a lot of months, and they were trying to get him to come take this visit or that visit, and he would say he was, and then Clemson would kind of thwart it. Well, he finally pulled the trigger and decommitted, so now he's going to be here this weekend. Coach Chop has done a fantastic job with Isaiah Campbell. Coach Garner, obviously, there's the defensive line coach. Coach Banks, defensive coordinator, and Coach Heupel. They've all been working on the family for a long time. And so Tennessee does have a ton of momentum right here. Commit this weekend? I would lean no, but I certainly feel like they have a chance to come out of this weekend as the prohibitive favorite.
Yeah, would you say at this point he's the most important uncommitted target remaining on Tennessee's board? Hey, football fans and Whataburger fans, if you're out at the Virginia in Clemson game, whether you're cheering on the Cavaliers or the Tigers on October 19th, plan for a pit stop at the Whataburger food truck during your tailgate. Get ready to watch your team by securing an easy W first with a hot, fresh Whataburger, that is, no matter who comes out on top. When you take your team to Whataburger, you'll know what a winner feels like by getting your food made your way, fresh and hot 24/7. See you at the game and see you at Whataburger.
Yeah, because he's the biggest named player on Tennessee's board at any position. Like Tennessee would love to add another linebacker or two. They'd love to add a running back if the right one fell their way. But this one's one they have momentum with, and he just so happens to be the highest ranked of any of those potential positions. So, Tennessee needs to add defensive linemen. And when you watch Tennessee's defensive line play all year, it's hard not to get excited if you're a guy like Isaiah Campbell because you see what Bryson Eason's doing and Omari Thomas and Omar Norman Lott. Those are just the interior defensive linemen that are making plays routinely for Rodney Garner.
All right, you mentioned that linebacker, they would like to add another. Well, there's going to be an official visitor in this weekend, linebacker Austin Howard. He's committed to Mississippi State, but Austin, I feel like we've been talking about him more and more on the show as the season goes on. Is he becoming more of a priority target as well for Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly, Tennessee was the first team to recruit him, and he'll be the first to tell you that. But they didn't offer first. Like that went to Vanderbilt and a few others, and then Tennessee finally jumped in the boat. But he originally committed to Vanderbilt, flipped to Mississippi State. I know Steve has talked about a potential flip back to Vanderbilt. I could totally see that. The Commodores have some momentum in recruiting right now, coming off of their recent success. But he's always kind of been one that has flirted around with Tennessee. Tennessee's certainly been trying to work to get him to campus, and so and this weekend could go a long way to putting Tennessee right there firmly in the mix for a guy like Austin Howard, who is he seems to have kind of he likes the recruiting process. He likes the phone calls.
Yeah, I like the recruiting process as well, so I don't blame him. Other official visitors include Darian Smith. Now, he's a defensive lineman committed to Tennessee, and also Tennessee commit Jaden Harmon, who I wanted to talk a little bit about because he's been taking some visits. So how important is this trip back to Knoxville for Harmon?
I think it's big. He was here this past weekend. Now to get him back-to-back weekends, this one officially, Alabama's certainly swinging big. They're trying to flip him back, just like Auburn's trying to flip Darian Smith. And so this will be back-to-back weekends for both Smith and Harmon. Harmon is one that's very important to Tennessee. The linebacker position, as we just pointed out with Austin Howard, is one that Tennessee, likes where they're at in this class, but they would need to add to just because, with Keenan Peely's injuries, Tennessee's finding out they need more linebackers on their roster. Mm-hmm. And, Arion Carter is someone who's done a fantastic job as an older, sophomore recruiting Jaden Harmon. Harmon, has developed a nice rapport with William Inge and the Tennessee linebacker room. So it's big. It's definitely big to get him back up here back-to-back weeks after he visited Alabama for the Georgia game a few weeks ago.
All right, now, when we move on, we're going to talk about the class of 2026, and this is really important because this is where the groundwork gets laid. Like when I mentioned about the win 2 years ago, kind of these early impressions are made, and this weekend, On3's number one offensive tackle in the 2026 class, Emmanuel Iacho, will be on campus. So, Tennessee is swinging big at these offensive tackles. They landed David Sanders this year. So talking about next year, where does Tennessee stand right now for Iacho?
Well, I think they're firmly in the mix. A long way to go. That's a big boy battle. And, Tennessee right now has done a nice job. Getting him to campus is big because the more times you can get him here,
right,
the better chance you have to, show off an atmosphere like I think Saturday will be or like last Saturday was. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's big to get him here. I think they're firmly in the mix. Would I call them the team to beat? No. But I think, probably a touch too early to label, a particular team as the team to beat. I think he's got a list of schools that he likes a lot. Tennessee's one of them.
Yeah.
And kudos to you, by the way. You let it roll right off the tongue. Say it confidently. That's the key.
I think that's the first time I've said it on this show. It won't be the last time. We're going to be talking about him a lot, but I do think that's the first time we've talked about him. And it kind of reminds me of when we started counting up the David Sanders visits. Remember, as spring wore into summer, these visits, this is just the first of many, you hope. If that'll be the formula. If they do land him, they're going to get him on campus many, many times, and this is just one important one. So what other important 2026 names will be in Knoxville that Tennessee fans need to know about?
There'll be a lot. I mean, Craig Tutt will be in town from Oakland. Obviously, they're going to get Kendra Harrison in town this weekend, the big-time tight end out of the state of North Carolina. Tennessee's already got a fantastic tight end, and Carson Snead committed to Tennessee. And, of course, they've got two committed for the 25 class with Jack Van Dorslayer and Desan Brame. So, Tennessee wanting to restock the tight end room. And then, of course, Faison Brandon, who, continues to work guys. He was working kids this past weekend. He'll be working them again this coming weekend.
Yeah. And Tennessee fans, like I said, VolQuest has a ton of information on more names that'll be on campus this weekend. Go check them out. But let me know, who are you guys most excited about? And also, in the comment section below, how many points will Tennessee win by this weekend? Let me know. Comment section below.